comfortable when playing these melee supports.
Yeah, 100%. It's the style he wants to play, and that's why there's a small mismatch, I feel like, in the bottom lane in terms of how the teams are drafting. One team wants the melee supports, the other team wants lane bullies and just win the bot lane, which is, of course, Team WE. Now, G2 Esports didn't get Ivan last time, but I think they were actually pretty happy with the WE playing Ivan and then taking it to late game.
Yeah, it definitely worked out in favor of G2. There's Mithy's champion pool we talked about. And of course, last time they banned 3 support champions in Phase 1. It was Lulu, Karma, Zyra. They're mixing it up, taking Fizz away this time.
And I mean, the big thing to focus on here for Mithy is the melee supports. This is his 5th game that he had just played on melee supports in this tournament alone. You know, even drawing the Tahm Kench ban, you know, not something you see against a lot of other players. And I think the fact that they got this melee support, they took the utility AD carry, and despite red buff being given over level 1, and the first blood being gifted over to Caitlyn, they still stayed relevant and they were huge in the late game.
So WE here trying to challenge G2 to first pick the Karma instead of things like Graves or Ashe, other good first picks we have seen in this tournament. But Karma is just the safest choice, even if your support would prefer to play melee supports.
Yeah, I mean, the Karma is so powerful, and the fact that Ivern is off the table, Condi I don't think wants to go for that sort of a champion again. We'll see if he goes for something more aggressive.
Oh, Lee Sin is open for him. It's been his best pick. Graves the second best. So he has all these junglers available when it comes to like the standard Condi picks.
The really interesting thing to me about this choice, normally I would say Lee Sin 100%, but because Strick has been so much weaker on the Lee Sin, you know, maybe you take that Graves, maybe you force him off onto it, but he's not going to go for it.
And it really seemed like G2 Esports were setting up for, you know, a first pick Ashe, because they banned that Caitlyn last, but then when they saw the Lulu ban from Team WE, a good adaptation, then suddenly Karma became too high priority, because it was basically Lulu, Karma, and Ashe Caitlyn kind of being, you know, swapped around, and when you ban the Caitlyn, you could first pick Ashe and then still get 1 or 2 supports. Let's see if Mystic surprises us. It should just be Ashe. This is a good pick.
And of course, denying Karma from Xie, something that he's exceptionally comfortable on, has played a whole lot. So the Ashe is locked in there once again for Mystic. If they get their hands on Malzahar, it's the same bottom lane that Team WE used to win both of their group stage matches.
Yeah, now let's remember that Olaf is a fantastic pick against Ashe. Trick already played it once. Once you get out of the laning phase, Ashe in a team fight against Olaf, like, you can't really do anything in those mid-game fights because you can't slow him down and kite him, so he will just get to the Ashe.
Yeah, and especially in combination with the Karma, you get even additional speed ups, and you can just run this guy down. You definitely need to see WE with perhaps, you know, more diverse damage profile to be able to make the Olaf more punishable.
Now you can go for your preferred AD carry if you're Sven. There's actually quite a lot open. I don't think you necessarily have to lock one down, but Varus is the go-to choice for most of them when Ashe and, of course, Caitlyn have been removed. So, safe draft so far from G2.
All right, how does Ben reply? Has not played a melee support this tournament yet. Has been primarily focusing on those range pokes. No Karma this time round.
And Malzahar is open, so we could see him just go right back to it again if they elect to choose their support right now.
Ooh, interesting. Okay, I think this makes more sense. Rumble top, and then you can ban out any bad matchup for you. But honestly, Fizz is already gone, so you're pretty safe.
Well, game 1, we didn't see the Galio feature at all for either of these teams. Actually, Ben has run that. Technically speaking, it is a melee support. Let's see how the bans play out and whether or not it's going to factor in. Gragas already taken off the table. Remember, Expect used that to fantastic effect against TSM last week.
And if Expect is comfortable playing that Galio, you know, if it comes to that, especially if it's AP solo laners in both mid and top, then you can very comfortably itemize early towards that MR. You can get through lane no problem. You have such powerful wave clear. Also does work pretty well with the Olaf who wants to go backline.
I agree, actually. I think Galio would make a lot of sense. Shen is not good against Rumble, so that should not be the choice for G2. Nautilus is another one. If you really want to play a tank, then worst case, like, Nautilus is kind of, you know, the last you pick for the football team every time, but he's a thing and he works.
I mean, Nautilus is strong, but I do think he has a harder time against the Rumble than someone like the Galio does, and his wave clear is also a lot less safe. But we'll see if they want to go that way.
Now we have to remember last game we had all the mid laners open like Syndra and LeBlanc, and it was the blind Lucian that came in from GA because they had the Ivan already. Lucian is now removed by G2, so we're still looking at Syndra as a pick with a lot of value. But then, of course, Echo is one of the potential counter picks to it. But we haven't seen in this tournament due to the rise of things like Tom Kench that kind of shuts down that play as well.
And I think that if you are going to go for something like the Echo, setting yourself up into a 1-3-1 composition can be very, very effective. And we're not really seeing anything leading us to think that you want to run 1-3-1 with either of these comps just yet.
It's very interesting that Team WE right now have been drafting some picks that could struggle a lot in team fights against things like Olaf, like Thresh as well. Like, he will not add any value for his AD carry.
You can't play, you can't do anything really to help your AD carry except the Lantern Shield.
Yeah, so
or just pulling him out.
This is just purely laning phase once again from WE, but it's a strong 2v2 lane from G2, and there's the Galio Azale you talked about.
And of course, it is going to be a slight pivot because game 1 was not purely laning phase for Team WE. G2's weakest phase all week, all tournament long has been early, so Team WE, they're going to potentially commit to this. Galio locked in into the Rumble. Ben, by the way, he's played 4 games of Thresh this year, none in MSI, he's won 3 of them.
I think another nice thing about this pick in particular here is if you want to go for something like Syndra, even if Echo gets locked in, Echo is another AP person that you are going to be able to very easily wave clear against with the Galio. You have AP solo lanes in both top and mid. Then the Galio can stack MR. You have the Olaf challenging the Ashe, just diving backline. And if the Ashe is getting taken out, there's not enough physical damage to really get through that Galio.
Well, if WE wants to play with a physical damage dealer in mid, then Zed.
Like Jace or Zed, they could elect to go for that. But Shia has to show that he's comfortable in playing that sort of a matchup.
He used to be good on Assassins, at least. Definitely still plays some of them, so it is open. This is obviously the one we normally see from him blind to Taliyah, when he's like, okay, I just need a pick where I can save lane and then roam to my side lanes, but it's not a good matchup against Syndra. This is actually a draft from G2 Esports where the lanes are very safe and their team fighting is extremely strong.
Yeah, I actually really like the way that G2 has come out of this draft. I think that the team fighting in particular is so strong with that Olaf plus the Galio to dive onto Mystic. Like, there's not really any peeling here for the Ashe. The Ashe is kind of essentially left alone with that dive buddy, and I do love a game like this, itemizing heavily towards MR on both Trick and Expect, and then focusing the Ashe. If you could take him out of the fight, the AP threats can't get through.
One thing I do like though, Shia can just put a wall down. Olaf can't run through a wall, so that's the only hard CC that could be very detrimental, and Shia's Taliyah has been super impactful.
And of course WE here saying, you know what, we understand that some of these late game fights can be tricky, but our early to mid game with the Rumble, with Lee Sin, and of course Taliyah's roaming is extremely powerful. Like, the party in the bottom lane, it's going to be WE showing up first, and they will try and take down G2 on that tower.
And the amount of pick potential they have across the board is pretty outstanding. From all 4 really, from the Taliyah to the Lee Sin, the Thresh, and the Ashe, there's so many ways to find these picks on G2 if they are spread out, if they don't have vision.
Oh, vision, and how do they react to Team WE? Early game, Team WE showed up last week. Very, very good early game. They've got all of the tools, which Officio and Azale have broken down. We're loading up into game 2. Now, all the expectation, the majority of the expectation was a 3-1 in favor of WE. Let's see if G2 can surprise a lot of people and take WE to match points.
Yeah, and I think that the mental game is so important in these best of 5s. We heard from Condi earlier that he thought the first match is the most important, is the one that decides it. And you know, being in these situations, if you lose the second, you're up against it. That really can weigh on you. You start to get nervous.
All right, both teams are grouping as 5. WE are looking for the same kind of roam G2 showed last game, where if someone is hiding here in that little brush, you can then catch him, like we saw the hook fly there from Ben, and then you get a first blood or a flash. Bottom lane, G2 are hoping that someone from WE is showing up to kind of sit there in the brush and have a good head start level 1.
And I do love these plays, especially with the Olaf. Anytime you have an Olaf, if you can tag someone with that early undertow, it essentially means they have to use a summoner to get away, at the very least.
And of course, taking a look at Perkz' stats, he was really the hard carry in that previous game, enabled by a lot of the members of G2, and exceptional CSD all lane, very good damage percentage. A lot of that thanks to Trick not dealing any damage, of course. Sure. Got to weigh that into account.
I mean, also to make Perkz' performance even better here, coming into the tournament, a lot of people were highlighting how strong the mid lane field looked. Like Faker, Mabel, Bjergsen, Perkz, GA as well. Like a lot of strong mid laners, and Perkz has been able to perform at the absolute highest level against some of the best players.
Consistently as well. Across the entirety of the group stage, G2 managed to advance thanks in large part to Perkz and Sven. Now, Perkz is going to be going toe-to-toe with Shia on Talia. He's 3-0 in the group stage, 11, 6, and 21. But what I really like about how Shia plays this pick is just how effectively Team WE use that Weaver's Wall ultimate, block off objectives, and it feels like a single wall secures an objective.
And that has really been, oh, this is actually pretty important here. So Olaf, many Olaf players will not use their potions because they deal more damage as they get lower. Condi gonna come try to invade, take away the red buff, and he likely will get it.
All right, Condi secures that red buff. Trick, for the second time against Team WE, loses his red to the opposing jungler.
Really good invade from Condi. Also knowing Olaf, it gets really low on his first clear, and he's running, of course, Ghost and not Flash. So if you actually get tagged by red buff Lee Sin, you're not really getting away.
Oh, they're just going for the blue buff as well now. They're trying to 4-buff on this first rotation, and it looks like Trick just has to back off for now.
All right, but will there be a bit of a fight? Undertow goes down. Trick is ghosting up. In fact, here comes Perkz. Condi is only level 2. Dark Sphere comes down. Force of Will not going to be able to save it. But here comes Expect. First blood to Perkz. They lose Sven in the bottom lane. Somehow Mystic dies as well.
Well, both AD carries are down. The supports are fighting.
Supportal combat! Mithy's got an army of minions, but Ben is too far away. Ben realizes he doesn't want to fight into that and backs out.
So a lot of things just happen right now. Invade from Condi and GA to stop the blue buff, but GA then stepped away. He went back to the mid lane. He couldn't afford losing minions. And that's when Condi was left alone in the jungle.
Yeah, and the shoe is on the other foot now as they'll bust over to Perkz, but back in the bot lane, Hook starting it out, and Ben actually focusing Mithy for quite some time there. A lot of damage traded over onto Mystic, and perhaps some misfire from Ben actually going so much damage onto Mithy.
And both supports end up flashing after and killing the AD carries in the end.
One of the big stories here, though, from the bot lane is that the way the waves stacked, if you look at this, it was pushing so heavily towards WE that Mystic will get a lot more farm back off of this since Mithy was not able to push in and actually bounce that wave.
We have to also look mid again because Condi is looking for more. No flash, and of course Trick got his revenge. Very important for him.
No flash onto Condi. Of course, the kill to Perkz means he's got double buffs in the mid lane, which is extremely important to a favorable matchup as well. And no support summoner spells on either side of the bottom lane.
And it's also one of those things where you just came out of the game where Perkz was smashing you for 40 minutes. And just the mental factor that once again, he has first blood, he has the advantage. That can be very frustrating, putting him out to that lead.
Sven is level 2 and Myth is level 4 down this bottom lane. Obviously not great for Sven, but Myth is able to keep it even there. And definitely the wave setup you highlighted before here. So Perkz with control mid, Trick. We talked about this in the last game. He wants to gank early on Olaf here.
Remember, no summoners, no summoners. Any CC will cost it. Ben gets slowed twice. Flay goes backwards, but he's going to get rooted by the focus resolve. Sven kills Ben.
Mystic kind of just hanging around there. We'll take a little bit of damage on the way out.
I really feel like Trick came in here after being flamed for basically a week for his group stage performance.
Deservedly so.
Of course, he did underperform, but he said, give me Olaf. It's an old comfort pick, and I'm just going to go ham in the early game.
And that was one of the big things that a lot of analysts had talked about. He needed to find another pick. You can't just have the Nunu. You can't just have the Ivern.
Oh, you're hating on the Nunu? It's 2-1, baby.
I'm hating on it. And I think you were too, Mark.
Yeah,
so, I mean, this is big for G2. If you have your jungler performing, it's so massive. That was the way into this series for them.
And of course, for Trick, Graves, Elise, still picks that he can pull out if this Olaf ends up being banned. Now, we're 5 minutes into the game. G2 have had a couple early kills, responded to Condi's invade earlier very well, and Expect gets a Justice Punch to 957's face, connects with the Idol of Durand as well. And 957 is able to escape, but there's some dive pressure if Trick decides to come up.
Well, 957 needs to stop his recall then for that to happen. I'm not sure that's gonna, of course, be an option, and that means 957 is back in base. Ben, near the mid lane, classic roam.
Yeah, and one of the biggest things here, not even about going for the dive, it's actually protecting the Galio so you can push in the wave, and because that is when you're at your most vulnerable, right up by that turret.
Oh, Perkz very confident mid lane here.
He's 6. He should be confident. Talia's gonna have to play scared.
But he had Ben, you know, down on the bottom killing a ward, and he didn't actually know where Condi would be on the map, and he still felt confident. Obviously had flash available.
Look at the itemization as well. She has already finished those Merc trades. Lost chapter for Perkz, forgotten chapter rather. She has eaten a couple of those max range stuns from Scatter the Week, and quickly take stock. 1,000 gold advantage to G2, 957 with a large CS advantage in the top lane, and pretty much even down the rest of the map.
And I think it was really big that Sven actually was the one to pick up that kill because it put him right back in it. Now they're looking for the play onto Perks.
All right, Perks is able to get away from the seismic shove. He sidesteps the unraveled earth. 957 continues to put pressure down. Unleashed power is available for Perks, but not going to be enough to get the kill on Shia.
So this time Perks could stay very, very far forward because he knew Trick and Mithy were just behind him. Condi still no flash as a Lantern though.
Great Lantern from Ben. Chains of Corruption not available by Sven. Trick is ghosting up, and he maybe wants some revenge for those buff steals. Got support if they want to contest blue.
Expect us teleport in case a fight breaks out. There are good deep wards from G2 as well, and Talia's pushed to her tower, so G2 should be able to secure this one. Perks is on his way.
All right, he should be able to take this one out. Force of Will, Dark Sphere, easily secured in what feels like the first time in 2 games, G2 actually steal a buff from WE.
Yeah, and then they got their early buffs back from the first kill.
Yeah.
So they are the ones in the advantage here, and the kills are going where you want them. Things are definitely looking really good now for G2 in this game.
All right, Expect is picking a fight, gets the shield of Durand onto an overheating 957. Triple Doran's rings, as well as that null magic mantle. So Expect's going to be scaling up, relying on that passive, and building that MR. Like we said in Picks and Bans, against 2 AP solo laners, that's a great champion to play into it.
And an Ashe that will use most of her team fighting trying to run away from an Olaf. So she's not going to get too many orders off if the fight goes right for G2.
And that is one of the biggest things to point out, because you can itemize more heavily towards MR because the Ashe has to run. The Ashe has so much threat on her with this Galio and Olaf composition, and if you can isolate that one target, take them down, there's no way you can punch through the Spirit Visage Galio, the Spirit Visage on the Olaf, and that's why the Ashe is such a key target.
Early game, it's always important to kind of track river vision. I think that's been a weakness of G2, where WE has done a much better job kind of getting control of the early map, so they had more vision to play around. Funny enough, then, G2 has actually gotten much better at mid to late game, where WE think it's much worse at vision, but that's for later in this one. It's important they can keep tracks of Condi though, because when WE are behind, Condi often can't invade, and that kind of shuts down his playstyle a little bit. Then he starts looking for ganks instead. That's where we need to see some big Lee Sin plays.
Well, for G2 at least, they seem to have interpreted WE's playstyle relatively well and answered it for the first 9 minutes. Condi is set up relatively close by, as is Trick for a potential 2.
Yeah, if 957 steps too far forward, you can look for Expect to get that taunt on him, knock him up, but they can probably run him down. We'll see.
All right, look at the recalls. Condi and Trick looking to complete. Trick has cancelled his. Condi has not. This is a 2-on-1 in the best case scenario. Undertow, Justice Punch. Where's the shield? Durand says you shall not pass, and the winds of war are in Trick's favor.
And that's such a good kill for Trick. Very smart going up top, but 957, if you don't flash that initial slow, you have no business using your summoner and wasting your ultimate. It wasn't even on the wave, so they're going to lose a turret too.
Yeah, but they're not done yet. Unleashed power as well as a stun onto Shia. Merctreds gets it out of that very quickly. The flash death sentence from Ben goes wide.
Oh, he's laughing at them. He literally just saw that and he just took one step to the right. He was like, yeah, you're not going to hit me.
Such a big swing in the game for G2, and 957 has not been on point this game. Whiffs the equalizer mid, wastes the equalizer, and summoner top. Sven now.
Oh, last second flash. Very nicely done. There's still support from WE in the river. But Condi's going to back away. Summoner spell secured.
Sven would say you can't get hit by an arrow like that unless you have no mouse. Luckily for him, he did have one and a keyboard. But here when 957 sees the charge up and the axe, flash this knockoff, and then you actually have a chance of staying alive, or at least you force G2 to use flashes to kill you at the very best. Pretty sure Expect would just taunt flash after him anyway,
yeah.
But at least you trade some summoners.
At least it's a trade of summoners, and I mean, really what you want from your Rumble on the play like that, if you're accepting your death, if you're going to drop the equalizer, drop it where the wave is coming up so they can't get that turret. That simple play would have denied the first turret and the big advantage that's now going over to G2.
Panic play, panic flash, and it costs so much more than just a kill. It's a 2,500 gold lead at 11 minutes. G2 have not been in this position many times at MSI. They're going to get an Infernal Drake as well. That's going to give them some mid to late game insurance. A very good start to game 2 in this best of 5.
Yeah, they've been in this position once against the Flash Wolves, and they managed to get like a 20,000 gold advantage before they finished the game in like 30 minutes. WE is a much better team though than Flash was at this tournament, and I'm expecting them to now try and play solid defense, because there's still a lot of pick potential with their lineup, but their playstyle has been interrupted because none of their lanes right now are winning hard enough for them to play around them.
And there is a lot of pick potential, but one of the problems is there's a lot of shove in both mid and top. You can push these waves, you can match that push, which means it's harder for W to roam, to make these plays, to get these catches. And if G2 can get to the grouping phase, well, you have Olaf and Galio standing in the front, and then they don't really care if they get hit.
I want to add one thing about the Thresh we didn't mention in Champ Select regarding, peeling against Olaf.
Lantern.
Yes, you can't slow him down, but Lantern could be key for Ben. If he's able to stand far enough away from Mystic, use that Lantern then to get Mystic to safety, or GA could also use the Lantern. One of the two.
And then it comes down to how the rest of the team perform. Can 957, Xie and Condi do anything to stop G2 rampaging? All right, there's going to be a little bit of a scuffle here in the river. Ben gets tagged by the undertow. Perk setting up for a scatter the weak stun.
Galio coming in.
Down the ulti onto Condi. A heroic entrance into a Justice Punch. Ben is sent back to the fountain. That was just clean.
Ben is sitting without Flash, and he's still looking for that play in the river with the missing bot lane. Then you get punished.
It did look like Perks was forced to flash, though, in mid lane from, I'm assuming, the flash of Condi, trying to look for that kick, and arrow coming down on Perks.
All right, Expect is the man that eats it, though. Still sitting on 1,500 HP, defensive punch away. Teleport from 957 as well. So while G2 don't get the tower, they maintain pressure. Look at the bottom lane. Stern is shoving it in.
It's just panic right now from WE. I like if we both want to jump in and say exactly the same point, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, good. Panic.
Great minds think alike, but I mean, this is so well played from G2. They're getting a lot done, and as you said, Ben posturing very far forward without that summoner, and Trick, I believe, actually runs forward, knocks him back in with that blast cone. So nice little play from Trick. Good thinking.
So few people had G2 performing at this level against WE, who had such a phenomenal second half of the group stage. Starting to show up when it matters, when it counts, and when they have a little bit more time to prepare instead of the VO1. So it's all in favor of G2.
Definitely also WE just gambling a little bit, especially in this draft. I feel like the Thresh coming in, trying to say, okay, maybe we can play around bot side, but they end up in that really tough to play matchup mid, and then with Condi's invade, where he loses double buff to Perks, and things kind of fall behind, because they had a plan in mind, win bot lane, win top lane, and then, win bot lane through, of course, top lane TPing, Talia roaming down, use that to open up the map, and then play a pick comp. But when Condi then gives over double buff to Perks, it kind of ruins the day for GA.
Yeah, it definitely does, and it's also why I was so happy to see Expect not going towards the Shen, but going towards something who can better match the wave clear, who can then match the roams and make it so that if Rumble TP's away, he's going to get punished.
Unfortunately, Rumble is the man that has been punished this game. Still got a sizable CS advantage, almost completed at Leandri's. I'm looking down through the rest of the items. Abyssal Scepter, Blade of the Rune King, Kashian Mystic respectively. Morella Nomicon and Blade of the Rune King. So those first item spikes have been hit. And you have to feel when 957 gets his teleport available, maybe they can set up plays, but it's been a fairly extended laning phase, despite how many kills G2 have got.
Yeah, and obviously the TP is timed. They saw it at that mid tower. They know exactly when it's going to be ready. So right now, Trick is actually confident he can gank. I like the ward here from WE, just around the corner to find him, because there's TP advantage for Expect as well to join a potential fight. So this bot lane tower should be an easy target for G2, due to 957 not being able to join.
Very, very low down indeed. Looking at the support though, Condi's sitting close to the mid lane. Expect actually was setting up for a potential roam, but he's backed away.
Also, no flash here on Perks, and Rumble is coming down. They're going to look for the play.
And Perks is going to try get one back into Xia. Gets the unleashed power. Equalizer comes down, but for no assist. Trick is actually ghosted into support, and looking at the river, G2 will help defend the tower.
Yeah, that was one of the plays we wanted to see here from Condi. And I want to go back to that point made earlier about G2 not having river vision, really. Despite being so far ahead, Condi could sneak in completely unnoticed, despite G2 being so far ahead in gold. And that's why Perks now, you can see it here, look at your minimap, he has no vision. He has no idea where the enemy jungler is. He has no flash. Well, then you're going to die. And that should have been prevented by having better wards down.
Yeah, no vision really on the top side. And you can see that the priority for G2 has been around the Dragon area. And they did get themselves that Infernal. They still have strong vision in the bot side. And that is going to get to this turret and perhaps set them up for the next Ocean Drake.
And of course, with the vision in the river, they could potentially just swing around to mid lane tower, which is going very, very low. Instead, Trick and Sven shove out the bottom lane, push this vision deeper into the right-hand quadrant of Team WE. Teleport will be available very soon for 957, likely soon enough to actually contest any potential dragon fights.
Otherwise, mid tower is going to be the next target. If you're G2 Esports, you can keep pushing bot, like past the dead tier 1 tower, and then you can roam first through the river to join the mid lane. And if you have things like Varus and Syndra, like you can catch Taliyah pretty easily and at least force her play. Oh, that was an arrow.
Optimistic arrow from Mystic. One of the few times you see it missing, really. You know, Mystic has had very good accuracy.
That was a very hard one to hit, though,
yes.
from him.
Maybe a little optimistic.
Exactly. I had this weird thought when I was watching groups.
Get off the cast, freak.
I feel like Mystic actually fires them at slightly stranger angles than a lot of the other Ashe players, and we'll see whether or not he can find the shots. Despite G2 having all of the tempo advantage, they lose some mid lane pressure. WE shove the wave in, and now they're clearing out the vision that G2 said.
And they're the ones that are starting up this dragon, but I think G2 will be happy to take this fight. We'll see if they can get here in time. Galio does have ult.
Ragnarok comes down. Condi's already secured the dragon. Heroic entrance knocks up 2. The hero punch does not. Justice punch rather. Sven flashes forward aggressively, being burned alive. Exhaustment to 957. Buys time. Here comes Trick with the undertow, with the hammer down. Shia gets caught up. Throws down the cleanse and the flash. G2 lose dragon, but they get 2 kills.
Get 2 kills and looking for more, Zale.
Yeah, they can get mid lane turret for sure here. I mean, mid lane turret is exceptionally low. They're going to take the blue buff. They're going to push up bot and take the mid turret. So this is really good for G2. While the Ocean Dragon is effective, it's not worth that trade at all.
Definitely not. WE here losing out a lot. And I'm glad we early on got to see the combo of Olaf running in with Ghost and then follow up from a Galio every time. So Trick feels extremely safe. And again, a guy that was criticized so much. The fact he had a good game 1, now he has a very good game 2. It's so important for his confidence.
That damage reduction just keeps Olaf in the thick of it for so long.
Yeah, it really does. And you can see Mystic is just getting chased out of the fight. They know he's the key member. So Perks with the flash ult essentially means your tank line can now not die because they have a lot of MR, and the only solo lane damage is magic damage.
And G2 are not afraid of it. They simply run over Team WE. All right, what is that? 6,000 gold lead as we get close to 20 minutes. Next dragon will be Infernal. We've already seen a fight over Ocean, and WE setting up a potential dive. Shia with that Weaver's Wall coming in from the river. He can close off any potential defense if needed. But G2, they're going to get caught up. Mippy eats a seismic shove and gets dropped down. Remember that vision we criticized G2 for? He walks straight into it, and G2 lose the tower.
Yeah, I mean, in that one, though, he saw them around there. That was pretty silly of Mithy to actually walk back out after they had spotted the Lee Sin, spotted the Taliyah. You know, multiple members were down there. They are going to lose a turret off of it, but are pushing topside and do have TP advantage.
Even with the 5k advantage, you can't disrespect the pick potential on WE's side. Like, that's why they have the Thresh. Taliyah as well, when you line them up so easy for her to knock them back into all her damage, her burst is just fantastic.
And that's the way that G2 could throw the game, right? That's the way that WE want to try to get back in. Keep getting picks, keep delaying G2 from pushing forward and extending that lead.
I mean, it should be so easy now for a team with a 5k goal lead to take over the map in terms of just vision and then spot the enemy when they're looking for picks. Perks right now still sitting on 2 Doran's rings, like sell one, get control ward. Same thing for expect top lane. Just control the entire map, and then you will win team fights.
All right, team fight being set up inside the red buff, despite connecting some damage. Condi's able to secure the red buff. It's denied from Mystic at least. And it looks like G2 are setting up onto this inner middle turret.
Yeah, and W has to be careful because there's no TP from Rumble, and G2 is pushing heavily on this turret.
All right, Expect has used the heroic entrance. Trick is holding on to his Ragnarok. Remember, CC...
Rumble's now here, they're grouped up!
Condi's taking a lot of damage and shut down. Death Save to Gets onto Trick. He finally uses the Ragnarok. A 3-man stun from Perks by some time. Force of Will gets another kill. So far, it's a 1 for 2.
That was such a risky setup, but G2, because they're 5k gold ahead, still managed to kill 2 guys on the side of WE. Mystic went down in the end. Great Rumble ulti from 957. And Tower stays alive, but it's a few hits and it's gone.
I really did like the setup from WE, though. The Talia wall funnels them into this small jungle corridor, sets up beautifully for the equalizer, but as you said, you can have those disadvantages in fights when you're that far ahead in gold.
And that was actually the perfect time for WE to fight. With the 5 guys together, like Flash just being down on the side of G2 already, and it still ends up in a 2-for-1 for the European team.
And here was, they were looking to set up for a dive with 957 not able to join, but you can just retreat back to the turret. Here it is, zoning them in, kick on 2-man from Condi, equalizer layered beautifully, but look at Mystic, he cannot even enter the fight. He's not been there this whole time. Xie was setting up that wall, so he's not getting any damage, and then that Scatter of the Weak stuns 3 men and really turns around the fight.
Yeah, that Ashar also bought some time with Perks that ate it, and he just picked up the cannon minion, which is about to lob in.
Well, he did lob it after in the face of Mystic and killed him.
But allowed WE to get a couple extra autos down. What I'm very excited about in this game, gentlemen, Team WE, when they won the LPL finals, they fell behind several thousand gold, multiple games to RNG. They won games in a similar fashion to how G2 won games last week. And now W have to do exactly the same thing, this far behind, but they get their second tower.
I mean, what they have to be careful about here is this mid lane turret is already going down. Rumble is still up top with no TP. They could look to pressure, even the inhibitor turret or perhaps the other tier 2, and they're giving up a pretty rough trade here.
Well, we have to remember this wave bot lane from G2 is still pretty far away from tower, so it's not like a quick, smooth rotation into a wave that's already at the tier 2 and they can kill it fast. Infernal Drake, 50 seconds. Baron is alive. There are many objectives for G2 to force a fight around. As long as they don't slow down, then they're still doing fine.
Yeah, very good setup. G2, while they can't pressure the tower, look at the vision setup.
They can now, though, because now the wave has been slowly pushing forward.
And, of course, there's a dragon to peel away to if G2 can pick whichever objective they want.
Yeah, and the vision control in the blue side jungle of WE is so immense for G2. Right now, it'll be very tough for them to be able to actually push in. Expect has his TP ready, and there's lots of flanking wards available. This is a very scary area for WE.
Yeah, we just saw the vision for Team WE. Absolute darkness into that quadrant so they don't engage and don't run that risk. They're relying on the Hawk shot so much at this stage. Death Sentence finds Miffy. Ash Arrow finds Sven. He's just going to wait it out.
Going to come in.
Ragnarok going down. Perks gets kicked back, but heroic entrance will land. Expect splits up Team WE. Nobody's gone down just yet. Trick, however, will. It's a jungler for a support. Expect on the front line. Looking for some CC. Wins a wall, will tag onto Condi, and it's a 1-for-1 trade. G2, a little split up there.
And it felt like they were trying to force that way too hard. Having your Syndra flanking, to me, seemed very risky there. And losing your jungler now makes it harder to take the Infernal, so they're going to try to push for the turrets, but Condi is behind them, and they may be looking to fight.
Let's see, G2 here might get caught in the 4v4. 957 with TP back in base. No deep wards for him to use, though, because remember, this was the area G2 controlled just before. And everyone ends up just backing away. But WE, again, are defending. They're holding on. They've been getting a few towers. They're going even in team fights.
And delaying the Infernal take for G2, and taking that second one, getting that snowballing dragon is so big. And I always like to point out how it's even bigger with a champion like Syndra, who is attempting to essentially one-combo you. Getting that extra AP, if you can put it over the edge to just one-shot an AD carry, is so massive.
Especially when you look at the itemization, rooted to Echo and Morella Nomicon.
Yep.
Thanks to the vision, thanks to the gigantic lead that G2 have accrued, they will be able to pick this dragon up uncontested. WE, however, they are setting up vision around Baron, so the next sort of obvious objective, quote-unquote, and, just trying to get some semblance of control back on the map to defend for longer.
Obviously, yeah, they know if they can just try and stall near the Baron, it buys them a lot of time to try and catch up a little bit. It's always the goal now. Teams are rarely saying, oh, let's rush the Baron. They're more like, okay, let's try and stall the enemy team. Let's try and kill their vision. Let's try and maybe stop them from stunning it because we have a jungler that can steal it. Expect it's getting caught right now.
Got a lot of HP. Look at that shield coming up. Flashes the Ash Arrow, but gets kicked backwards by Condi. Expect finally goes down. 5 members of Team WE get the kill.
That setup again now where G2 on one side, they can't see anything. overextending a bit and getting caught. Like, again, WE are playing some fantastic defense right now.
They really are, and G2 have to be very careful here. They're worried about the threat of the Baron because of this beautiful pick setup from WE. They have no vision, and if WE can get the picks, can get the kills to take the Baron here, they'd be right back in it. G2.
Their sentence onto Miffy that kills him. Lantern back out to safety. WE needed to find picks to stall the game, and they've done it over and over and over. And all of a sudden, that lead is starting to look less impressive.
Punishing the amount of holes on the map from G2 Esports. Still such a lack of control wards being placed.
I mean, you pointed out earlier to Vicio, double Dorans on both the solo laners here for G2 have still not sold them 26 minutes into the game to open up slots for those pink wards. I mean, the same can be said for Sven. He's sitting on his Doran blade. All your carries have no room for these control wards.
Yeah, and while it's very good you pick one side that you kind of put all your wards in and you play around, then normally what you have on the other side is a few old defensive control wards that prevents when the enemy team goes to that side that they just walk into an area where there's no vision and you don't actually know where they are. Are they rushing Baron? Are they ganking my top laner? All these things just basically surprised G2, and it cost them 2 kills, but they're still in the lead. They're trying to set up around Baron now. WE, though, with a few more items under their belt.
And with 957 in the bot lane, G2 has some choices. They could look for a catch on Ben if they've spotted him out, but you can try to start up the Baron, force out a teleport, and retreat, then use that global advantage that they will have. But right now, topside is pushing heavily, and it looks like they want to try to force their advantage there.
Yeah, look at that zoning taunt from Expect. There is several wards.
957 TPing in.
Team WE are going to fire. Expect eats the Ash Arrow. 957 is coming up from the river, and Perks will be very late to this one. Expect gets knocked backward by the seismic shot. Another decent equalizer, but G2 are able to sidestep. Perks is coming in into 957. Hourglass buys some time. The front line is down. Condi cannot kill Sven, and Sven is putting down the autos. Trick gets caught and knocked backwards. Perks holds on to the unleashed power, but shoots it after being exhausted. That's a good stun. Multi-man. Sven is on a rampage. Mystic forced to flash defensively, and G2 somehow make that a 1-for-1.
I think the engage here from WE was fine, but it really relied on some massive outplays on their side. Ben's hooks have been great in some of these fights here. He actually managed to keep Expect in the Rumble ulti. It was a hard fight to execute, but they got a 1-for-1 again.
And honestly, you have to think that's some hubris from G2, pushing up so far with their mid laner not there against this team that has so many ways to pick you. And G2 does feel like they're playing a little bit sloppy in the later stages.
They're definitely not respecting the engage options, but the fight in itself is not bad for G2 either to take, because they know Perks is near enough to join. Like, so far it's good for them. Look at this here. After all the damage, then it's Ben's hook on Expect and keeps him near the team so they can kill him. Now it's a 4v5 suddenly. Condi as well getting some great damage on Sven.
There just wasn't the backline follow-up to actually take down Sven. And Perks has so much damage from the side, but blowing that ultimate into the exhaust, that could have perhaps been another kill. He makes up for it with a great stun here, though, allowing them to pick up a couple kills.
We've seen this a few times. Perks will use ulti early to get multiple balls down on the ground, so when he fires his Scatter of the Weak, he hits 2 or 3 guys with the stun.
And once again, Perks is showing up. Previous game on the Victor, huge performance. Look at the damage in that last team fight. Mystic, of course, took a lot of Expect's HP as well as the follow-up fight. That eventually just got poked out by that stun at the end.
And Mystic is really known for his team fighting. This guy is such a strong Ashe player, but just really such a strong team fighter in general in the late game. And he certainly is a way back into this game for WE. You can't ever count them out with a world-class AD carry like this.
And Mystic was one of the reasons that Team WE won so handily against G2 during the group stages. Both games on Ashe. His Ashe arrows then kept finding G2 members. Sven on Cogmore, if you remember, ate the same arrow, it felt like twice in 5 minutes. This time, however, WE from behind in a deficit. They catch Perks out. This one's good, but look at the taunt from Expect. Goes back in with a Justice Punch. The box is put down. Sven is not there. This is 5-on-4. Team WE are punishing. Redemption gets some damage down. Perks is kicked backwards. He's in trouble. The heroic entrance gets a damage reduction. Condi, though, is the first victim. Weaver's Wall splits off any exit. Sven is still not here. G2 have won a 5-on-4 fight, and now she is running for his life. Gets tagged by the slow, and A lot of damage from those reckless swings. Sven is finally in the fight. Chain of Corruption is flashed away from the flanking Syndra. This time it works. Manages to get a double kill with that force of will. Flash forward from Sven. Mystic is the target. Shia is the ace.
G2 get the ace. They have the minions mid, and they are going to push. They will crack the base of WE here.
And it's another fight where Perkz is the main carry. It looked pretty dangerous at first, but when he finds that flank in the second engage, takes down WE. Sven joins, running all the way from base when the fight started.
The wave is also pushing in by here. They can go for 2 inhibs. We'll see if they want to stick around or if they back off, because Baron is up and they may want to reset.
It's been such a hard mid to early late game for G2 because WE here have been finding good fights. They've been able to keep them even, punishing lag of vision. But a fight like this here, where the engage is good because it's a 4v5 and it's on the guy with no cleanse, so Perkz is out of the fight and Sven is back in base. Good hook again from Ben, but now the turnaround.
And I think there's so much credit to G2's frontline for playing this so well, not fully committing, delaying so long without Sven being there. Surviving this whole time in a 5v4 was very impressive. Just now, this Trick popped the ghost, enabling them to chase down extra members, turn this fight around, and really capitalize as their AD carry finally comes in.
Trick is okay sacrificing himself because he knows Perkz is falling. I'm coming from the side. I'm coming, I'm gonna kill them. And he did show up.
This is just massive for Perkz. I mean, this guy is so huge now with the death cap on top of everything, double Infernal. If anyone gets comboed by him, they will go down. It means Mystic and Xie have to play so ridiculously safe in the fights.
So, a year ago, 2016, WE would win games, down 10k gold, because they had a jungler who would always steal the enemy Baron. He would steal the Baron, they would stall the game, they would win a late game fight. Condi's in this game right now. Trick is not always 100% spot on with the smite. So G2 needs the full deep vision and just make sure there's no chance of a steal. Then they should win this game.
Trick has already missed a couple of smites this series.
He's hit a few as well, to be fair.
No, of course, yes, but Condi, one of the main carries, one of the main reasons WE advanced with the second seed into the playoff bracket. Let's see if we can do it again. G2, though, they have to start. A little bit of pressure. Expect gets caught by a death sentence. You heard that just on the flank.
And Mystic is actually lying in this bush. He's looking for an angle on an arrow. We'll see if he can get anyone. Let's back off.
Flanking Ashe.
Chain of Corruption is going to spread. 956. Takes the Lantern to safety as I too hit my cough button.
Yeah, what do you say, Trent?
I pulled the Deficio. G2 Esports,
Trigger seed.
10,000 gold in the lead. They've got super minions in the middle lane. And maybe it's early. Maybe closing out the second game. At what point is the redemption story complete?
When they close out the second game. Like, it's definitely not over, like it should be. But again, WE have been able to defend and punish some mistakes from G2. And again, they have this jungler who's done this before, stealing these Barons and get them back in the game.
Now, G2 doesn't have to rush this. The bot wave is going to push for them. Mid wave will shove in because of the inhibitor being down. They can play it patient, allow the waves to get in position and someone to respond, then look to set up a play. All the cards are in their hand. They just have to really play this out properly and make sure you don't give Condi that chance at a 50-50.
Take a look what Expect can do. This time gets caught up by the death sentence, decides to re-engage.
No flash on Ben.
Instantly gets popped. Perkz is dominating. Trick will get the damage reduction from the heroic entrance, and Mystic is caught by the Chain of Corruption. 2 kills to the Kings of Europe.
And that is so big. Now they can go back to the Baron. It's a 5v3. Condi still has the threat of stealing, but they're going to start it up and they're going to zone with the extra members.
Yeah, this is exactly the setup we talked about. Don't risk a Baron steal, so you need to get deep vision. Look for a fight first so you can then zone them off after. Condi, he's sneaking around. Perkz
He was seen now by the minions. They know he's there.
All right, no stun this time round. Condi's trying to get in, taunted out. Can't find a Sonic Wave. Not going going to secure it by G2, and Condi goes down.
Very well played by G2. They execute the fight properly. They catch out the support with no flash, and then they nail the ultimate onto Mystic.
Oh, you just feel the tension, though, as Condi gets in and can almost fire the Q.
Crawling his way to the Baron pit, everyone trying to pull him back.
I mean, he was so close to being ranged with that Q, and that could have been a stolen Baron, but this is key. Take that free kill on Ben. He has no flash, and then this is the combo we talked about so many times. Ola onto the Ashe. The Ashe cannot get the damage out. Galio diving in. You cannot fight back.
I think we've seen so many fights now where everything we talked about in champs like basically just happened in favor of G2. You know, the fact that Mystic are not getting enough damage off because you're getting chased down. Talia in team fights, it's difficult again to get enough DPS on these big tanks in the front. You can't really hit the back line if you are WE other than this Rumble ulti.
And especially when you're playing around the same area for so long, when they're fighting for jungle control, the work ground actually can be a bit of a hindrance for Talia because you don't have that open ground to actually work with and get the maximum damage out from your Qs.
G2 Esports in such a great position. 2 GAs for this next siege. Baron back for another 2 minutes. And look at the vision on the bottom half of the map. Expect cut off by the Weaver's wall, but Trick is applying damage to that inhibitor in the mid lane. Expect gets a decent taunt into 957.
And the Equalizer got nothing done.
Yeah, it's simply not enough. Goes golden by the hourglass. Finn almost takes him out with a piercing arrow. 957 running for his life. Inhibitor in the mid lane is falling. Inhibitor in the bottom lane is falling. G2 are setting up their final siege.
Got 2 inhibs here, didn't manage to get a kill in 957, but he did have to flash away and use the hourglass. Perk's looking for something.
Condi gets caught out. He's got a GA available and it gets popped. Heroic entrance from Expect by some time.
Expect in the back.
Punch into the shield of Duran. Now 957 is the target. Remember, he used the hourglass. Sven uses the QSS to back away to safety. Nexus turret number 1 and 2 is down. G2 on the verge of match point. G2 take down WE 2-0.
And they're playing so well.